In my last video, I had the opportunity to visit the Auto Hub. I think you guys saw the video, it was fantastic, a lot of automation happening over there. And I was very eager to meet with the owner of the company, GDEX, right, to find out how he actually started the story. And as I delved deeper, right, I noticed something very interesting that I can really resonate myself with him is that we both came from the same financial industry. In fact, we came from the same company, OSK. I have already given out a lot of clues over here. He is no other than Mr. Teong Teck. He is the founder and CEO of GDEX. Welcome to the show, Mr. Teong.
Thank you very much.
I can see that you're a hustler, right? I mean, your background, you were an engineer, and then subsequently you went into the brokerage business. And then subsequently you bought a stake in GD Express, which started in 1997, right? Could you share with us your journey getting to where you are today?
My first job is in Texas Instrument in process and product engineer. So that 2 years, actually, I learned a lot about having the certain type of quality standards that in any work I done. So the thing is that moving to actually the next engineering firm, I actually got a job in Embark Electric. Now it's known by TMB. Because there is these things inside me that was not fulfilled. Because why? Maybe manufacturing is not for me. But the other side of it, I have to get exposed to high voltage. And the only company that offer this is Embark Electric. The thing is that this exposure will also allow me to become a professional engineer and to be a competent engineer. That means once you're able to operate, you can be actually the consulting engineer for a lot of high-rise building, manufacturing factories. So every project you took, you actually got quite a lot of money.
Then why did you go into OSK to become a stockbroker?
The 4 years in Embark Electric, actually I dealt with a lot of factory owners, business owners, because the whole sort of consumer account is also under the consumer engineering portfolio. That means now we even have to be like an accountant, basically doing out the summary of what electricity is being sold and what is the intake that you actually took in and how much is lost, wire transmission. So that 4 years actually gave me a lot of understanding of how to run trading business, and also understand the bureaucracy behind it. So that 4 years also get me exposure to a lot of consultant engineers. So I understand that they have to draft out, let's say, those electrical drawings to actually sign on it, and then they submit to TMB for approval. And sometimes, as a consultant, you have to sign all that. And certain projects, you find that they could be a little bit under specs. I was actually talking to some of the engineers, why you sign because it's a little bit under spec. You say if the project is very big, you are an engineer, you have to sign it. So I was thinking, I'm not going to sign something that I'm not comfortable with. So I think...
So you left?
I left. I think it's not interesting. So I was thinking of maybe I should go into timber trading. So I tried timber trading after I left. So that doesn't last very long because I think a couple of months, because I'm not rough enough to be in the timber business, very, very rough business. So I actually back it out because why I start to expose that there are other potential business that is on the financial services. Because a lot of the timber tycoons, they also dabble in shares. So I start to read annual reports, understand how these shares, and I think, wow, this is even better, So, but then you have to give out your engineering and everything totally, Right. So I got a job as a trainee dealer in OSK in 1990. So that to me is the total change of faith in me because there is many options. One, you can be a remiser. I think I start out as a remiser. Remiser is basically all commission. You got no basic pay or anything. So area of the income is all up to you. I think that job is a very lucrative job, especially in the 90s. Malaysia was one of the 4 ASEAN tigers. But for me, after 11 years, I'm making quite a lot of fortune for myself. After a couple of years, I actually become a commission dealer. So I actually have a P&L on my own department as well. So that is thanks to the owner of OSK, Tan Sri Ong. Actually, they give me an opportunity to become more exposed to businesses because as an institutional dealer, you actually got the chance to talk to businessmen, tycoons, listed company, all this kind of thing. So that exposure also lead me to another journey. As I get more involved to understand businesses, I was asking myself, why not you become an entrepreneur? So that leads to 2000 when I acquired GDEX.
Right. So do you remember how much you acquired GDEX for?
Actually, GDEX that time is actually a loss-making company and a very, very small company. So I acquired that company for less than $1 million for the majority control. And then, of course, after that, you had to put a right issue, and things like that. It will cost me actually much more than that.
Right. So just now you mentioned it was a loss-making company. So what did you do to turn the company around?
I think one of the first things is that when we took over in 2000, I think basically a lot of things is left, not right. So I wouldn't say it's wrong. There's too many left things and not many right things. So the other things that what we do is when we go in, we find that a lot of people take advantage of the company. So the first thing that I did, I called for a meeting. I was telling them, since I was not here when all of you are here, a lot of the things are left. I will have an amnesty. I forgive all of you. But starting today, things have to be done in this way. So I think many of them opt to actually follow the things to be right. I paint them a very big picture. If you do this over the next few years, this company should be listed. And if you are with me, you are the pioneer, you have everything to benefit.
Yeah.
Because some of them, even I give out some free shares for them.
Right.
If they hit that type of targets, you see.
Okay.
So for me, I'm fortunate that when this thing was done, there is a lot of new talents that coming into the company because they heard about it. So starting to have engineers, software developers that starting to come in. Because I want to turn GDEX into a tech company, you see.
A tech company?
Yes.
Okay.
So I think when we list in Nasdaq at that time, we were a high growth tech logistic company.
Okay, so you acquired the company in 2000. It got listed in 2005.
Yeah.
From 2005 until 2010, this 5 years period, I think the share price wasn't doing too great. And there were a lot of reports saying that this company maybe need more time for them to grow to become a different animal. And I'm sure in the 5 years, you also faced a lot of challenges in the business as well. How did you deal with the challenges and overcome that fear that said, hey, did I did the right decision to buy this company or not? Should I just be a stockbroker throughout my whole life? That kind of challenges.
Actually, the first 1 year after I buy in 1990, I actually asked a lot of that time why you want to buy a company and then you have a really good life in the investment banking, So that type of question keep on coming. But once after listing, I never look back. Because in fact, after 2 years, I never look back because why? Looks like things are getting better. But it's true, after listing, your company, you have a bigger challenge post-listing because your people especially, they have much more higher expectation. And because the company is listed, it's natural that a lot of other logistic companies, they think that your people are very talented and
they can poach your people.
They can poach your people and then you have to up your sort of pay package and things like that. So in 2006, our profits actually dropped because you have to up your pay package to almost the same as other listed companies as well.
Right.
So I think from there, I actually start to learn new things. For example, you have to have a better corporate governance, you have to have a certain type of responsibility. So of course, in terms of business growth, 2006 to 2010, it's not as strong as 2003 to 2005 because you're like startups, you do anything without even a single blink of the eye. Correct. So we were growing something like in 2003 to 2005, like 40%. And after that, I think it's still good, 20-30% a year, but with all the proper documentation, all that sort of thing, compliance in place. Because of compliance and documentation sometimes slow down your business. This is one of the challenges.
Then from 2010 onwards, I think there starts to be light at the end of the tunnel. I think the story starts by SingPost coming in as one of the substantial shareholder in the company. Could you share with us a little bit on how you came across with this opportunity?
SingPost actually is one of our customers that we start to do delivery, I think from 2009 or something like that. So I think it must be some of our standards that start to actually attract a lot of potential strategic shareholders to us. SingPost is not the only one that approaches us. There's quite a few that approach us. But the thing is, the SingPost, I think one of the things that attract me, because I always think the Singapore incorporated company are very, very strong in terms of their process, in terms of governance policies, which I can learn, you see. And then the Singapore incorporated brand are actually a very strong endorsement. So when they actually talk to me, a lot of my other partners, my other directors and shareholders, they would think that if SingPost can actually take a stake, it's actually very, very good for the company for branding purpose. Yeah, and also, of course, there are business synergy and things like that. Yeah.
Okay, so apart from branding, you mentioned they have business strategy. So how did SingPost help you to bring up the business?
The minute SingPost invest in us,
More
a
business
lot
just
more
came.
businesses just came and approached us. So it's a recognition by the market
Right.
that GDEX standard is very good. We go much stronger after that. So I think that itself is a great help from SingPost.
Then subsequently in 2016, deja vu, right? This time, Japan's largest logistic company, Yamato Black Cat, they came in to take a stake in the company as well. 23% to be exact, to be the second largest shareholder in GDEX. Again, the same question, how do you come across with the opportunity and what were the significant things that they have brought in?
From the perspective of being a listed company, and then we have a quite aggressive plan to actually expand to the region. So there are many, many companies approaching us. But I think the Yamato, to us, is very, very strategic because a lot of the companies from Japan, if Yamato came in, of course, we can have opportunity to service those Japanese company. And also there's a lot of opportunity for the products flow from Japan to Malaysia and the region. So naturally for me, it's a very good sort of a partner to have. And the other thing is, of course, the company also needs some fresh injection of funds. So we did issue out 9.1% sort of a new shares to Yamato. Actually, that bring in quite a lot of fund for GDEX.
All right, 9.1%. Then how did they end up with having over 20?
So they bought 10% from Singapore Post, and I think I sold them a couple of percent just to meet the number of shares that they need. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know the exact number,
Yeah.
but based on my gut feeling, this partnership would benefit Yamato more compared to how you benefit from Yamato, in the sense that there are a lot more logistic services needed from that side of the world to Southeast Asia. So they would require more of your service. But how does it fit into the picture that you would also require Yamato's capabilities to help you to open up to new markets?
Actually, one of the biggest things that we gain from Yamato is have an opportunity to witness how they operate, for example, in Japan. So I think sometimes a lot of things are more advanced in Japan. For example, in Japan, every like 300-500 meter, you have stations for Yamato.
Wow, every 300
Yeah,
meters.
sometimes 100 meters.
It's like 7-Eleven.
Yeah, sometimes 100 meters you already have one. I think what we gain is that we come back and then we design a digital POPs, So in Malaysia now we got almost like 4,000-5,000 POP stations. That will give easier access for our customers to drop or to collect shipments from us. So I think in that sense, sometimes the exposure, I think does help us a lot, because in Japan the systems are very different. Malaysia again very different. So we have to localize the concepts that we observe from Yamato.
In the same year, you also acquired a 30% stake in WebBytes. I understand that it is a smart retail tech solution company. So far, we have just been talking about logistics. Suddenly, these smart retail solutions come up. And it is so far away from your core business. Why suddenly you go and acquire something that is totally not relevant to your core?
So as an entrepreneur, I think for me, I'm always have this wow idea that you have to actually be ahead of time. So the point of sales, actually, it looks like it did not have anything to do with us. But for me, is that how are you going to effectively serve the community and the business in any region or any country? So I think the retail is actually a big part of the business. So if you can get in to this retail, it will be very good. And the best is you get into the retail by a point of sales. At that time, Zillnex is not, they haven't started the smart retail yet. It's actually a cloud-based retail. So basically their technology is very simple. You just go to the cloud. So you don't need to have a server to have their point of sales subscribe to them.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to onboard, you see. And then they also have this SaaS model. So you just pay a subscription monthly and then it's done. You don't have to buy the entire system from them.
Right.
So if sometimes you buy off, let's say an entire point of sale system, it may cost you a few $100,000, millions of dollars. Most of the SMEs or even the businesses, they wouldn't want to do that. Maybe they pay 200 odd ringgit a month, that's it. So it's a better way.
Subscription model, lower cost.
So when I invest in this, I ask myself 2-3 questions. First question, will it help GDEX problem solving in the future? The answer is naturally yes, because these are the future things that are coming. The second thing, can this business scale? It's very scalable, it's cloud-based. So I think for me, it's very good. And the third one is the people have a skill sets. The team is actually all professionals and very, very skillful. So it meets the criteria of what we want. So I think for me is that, acquiring that is quite natural to GDEX at that point.
Just now you mentioned, you asked yourself a few questions. The first question is, how does this company going to help GDEX as a business? Maybe you can share with us one of the examples that how these synergies happen, because maybe some of the audience may not be able to gauge it immediately.
You see, GDEX technology, when we actually started acquire in 2000, our programs are all hardwired. It's quite a legacy system, let's say, compared to nowadays, those software that we have. So web bikes systems are all cloud-based.
Right.
So to me is that, let's say for example, that time we were using this handheld computer. So the handheld computer, each one is about $1,000+ US. So it's very, very expensive. But when it comes to cloud-based, you can actually use a handphone, you see, if you design your software to an app, for example. So they have that type of understanding, because that's what they are doing. Because what they call point of sales are all individual units, go to the cloud. So if you use the handphones, it can be the same. So to me, can actually work with them to come up with our first app, you see. First app.
Right.
Things like that, you see. So which our capability at that time we don't have. So that's why the synergy to me is a lot, you see.
Right.
Yeah. So of course, before I actually invest, I actually tell the founder, if I invest, this is one of my first project. So is it okay or not? So obviously the founders, they are also very forward-looking. They're willing to actually discuss with us how to expand or improve the business as well. Yeah.
Right. So to visualize it a bit better for myself. So because POS system a lot of time involves scanning the barcode, and then all the details will come out.
Yeah.
So you can also use this system in your warehouse. Then we'll scan the barcode, and then all the details will be recorded.
Actually, not only that, you see, one of the big things is of the service. When you actually deliver something, your customers would also want you to at the same time to collect back the cash.
Straight away you can
them.
collect.
So nowadays the cash is either physical cash, or they
Digital
can use
cash.
the wallets or other digital cash. So when you have a sort of partner who is very strong in retail, so all these payments already there. So your sort of app plus the payment, you actually be ahead of the curve, because you can do a lot of things that a lot of other traditional companies just cannot do.
Okay. Since then, right, there's just a series of inorganic growth, a lot of M&A acquisition that has been done by GDEX. Some of the examples is you went to Indonesia by acquiring S&P Express with 44.5% stake. Vietnam, you acquired Netco, 50% stake, and then you also acquired 51% stake in SweetMac, which is a web design company, right? You have done a lot of things, but what is the end goal that you want to achieve?
The thing is that for us, is there another way of doing things? So I think a couple years earlier, we actually developed a system called MyGDEX. So MyGDEX is a digital courier network platform. So any customers can actually log into this and then sort of subscribe their requirement, whether to pick out, to drop, or whatever the shipments are inside here. So imagine GDEX in Malaysia, after 23 years, we only have like 60,000 corporate accounts. This MyGDEX, we only start a couple of years. It also have 60,000 accounts now. So, and then this one is all cash, because it's a platform. When you actually need to deliver, you have to pay cash.
Right.
There is no credit. And then the signing out of this, you take about a couple of minutes to sign out as a client, and you can start trading already. So it's a much more efficient. So right now, if we expand to the other region, let's say Myanmar or other country, we actually use MyGDEX and find a local partner, It can be on tomorrow.
Oh, plug and play.
Plug and play like 2 months. So right now, I think we have already started in Singapore, already have my GDEX as well. And the other country, we start in Saudi Arabia last year. So it takes us a couple of months to actually implement that. And I think from now on, there will be more countries coming up. Maybe every couple of months we have a country, but in the form of the digital GDEX, you see. So I think that way we can actually maybe have a better efficiency of whatever assets or proprietary software that we have. I think we get that to use, you see. So it's about time to get back some harvest as well. Yeah.
So the first 23 years, you pretty much focus on the infrastructure of the business to make your logistic business very strong. I think from now onwards, it's about scalability of the business. Therefore, you have MyGX to just conquer the world, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
It's not only MyGX, but all the other units will collaborate to actually able to provide the service offerings to anybody who actually expand in Malaysia or out Malaysia or things like that.
So out of all these units that you have already acquired, which one do you think has the biggest potential to be the most growth area?
I think one of them is, of course, MyGDEX. Because it's actually, it's like a copy-paste now into every countries. And we also now is a member of UPU. So in 192 countries, thanks to our regulator support as well, our government support that give us the endorsement that GDEX is a credible member in the UPU, because UPU is also a postal network, global postal network. So we are actually quite thrilled to be one of the members, because there's very prestigious thought of membership into that. Yeah.
Let's zoom out a little bit. We don't talk about GDEX, we talk about your industry. Over the years, the logistics space is getting more and more competition, right? And as a result of that, we can also see that your margins is actually eroding. Is this a race to zero in your opinion?
I think it's at the present moment in Malaysia, it's survival the fittest, or you say the race to zero. But also to me, it's also a test of how resilient you are. So of course, if you look at the developed country, like US, Japan, China, and all that, all the last mile domestic, they only leave it to the domestic players because of national security. And also that is one of the reasons, like for us, if we expand to other country, we just have the digital part and then we partner the local player. So we won't have that concern, you see. So we can actually share certain revenue, but we won't be involved in all the sort of security issues of the nation and things like that, you see. So for us, I think eventually, definitely the regulators, they will be actually getting more understanding on the industry. For example, masking, Masking is like, those days we have a platform like Marketplace. Starting that time, we are actually serving them because we are the only company that can do Marketplace. Today, almost everybody can do Marketplace. Yeah. So the thing is that when they do the masking, basically they unplug GDEX API into their platform. So immediately, like thousands of merchants who like to choose us to trade on those e-commerce platform cannot even see our brand there.
Yeah.
So these are the type of policies that we hope that actually will be put in place, so it will be a more level type of playing field. Of course, the other things is other sustainable policies that need to be put in place as some of the more developed countries that I think this thing will happen, but you have to give the regulator some time because e-commerce, social commerce is still very new in this part of the world.
So we come from the financial brokerage industry, right?
Yeah.
So you were in the era where commission is great, fantastic. I wish I was born 10 years earlier, then I can be in the era. So, but unfortunately, during my time, the brokerage can go to as low as 2 basis points. And it is indeed a race towards zero. Today, brokers, they have to find other creative ways to make money, right? What I'm seeing is somewhat this is happening in the logistics space as well, because even e-commerce companies are involving in logistic business. And our logistic fee is also somewhat coming lower. So I'm just worried one day, to send a parcel, it will be free, and you need to be super creative on how you can find different revenue stream to sustain the business.
Yeah, I think for the normal type of customers, there will be a sort of eventually it will come out to stabilize at a certain type of fees base. It's just like broking, right? Let's say for transactions, if you call a dealer, I mean, there is also a certain type of fee, maybe the minimum 10 ringgit or things like that. But of course, when the bigger customers come to you, it can actually negotiate at a better type of rate, but you also come in with something else. But you look at the investment banking today, a lot of investment banking, despite of all the rates coming down, they're actually getting bigger and worth even more. So why that happened? Because they also evolve, you see. So they actually do asset management, they do corporate restructuring for people, they actually provide advisory as well. So our industry, we have to also evolve.
Right.
And I believe that our industry can be even bigger because why? It touch all businesses, you see. So which I think if you have an opportunity to touch on any businesses, the opportunity is there for you to exploit. You cannot say there's a race to zero because we can only see the opportunities, cannot look back anymore.
And I can see the group is adopting a lot of automation in the business. This auto hub that I was in just now is something interesting I think it can help to lower down your operational costs.
Yeah.
You spent 25 million ringgit on the project, and how did you fund for this new factory?
Actually, we still have a cash of about 190 million, but because right now we have to follow FRS 16, right? So you have to less all the lease and all that, rental and all that sort of thing.
Right.
So the actual cash that is in the reports is maybe around 90 million.
Oh, so that's why you reported a lower cash position.
Yeah, because of the FRS 16.
Okay.
So anyway, but to us, I think we have to be much more prudent to actually invest in all this. You see how we can actually start to save money. For example, now let's say the per parcel, the cost of doing, let's say at the hub, let's say we just put an arbitrary figure, let's say it's 60 cents. Let's say now, if with the same number of people, you can, let's say, do double the number. Let's say now we are doing, let's say, 130, 140,000. If you do 260,000, it's still going to cost you the same money because the sorting system is a sorting system, the capacity can do 3 times more. So if you do 2 times, it costs you the same thing. So what will happen per piece? It actually come down from 60 cents, 30 cents for that hub cost, you see. So at the business, I think one way, if you cannot go up the rate, you have to think of how to reduce the cost, how to actually streamline the cost through automation, through a lot of other ways to actually make it more efficient. Yeah.
So how much cost saving can we expect from this auto hub?
Right now, I think we are not having much saving because our scale have not reached out. We are only using like something like maybe 30% capacity now. Because when we install a hub, we cannot just build up to the capacity. We need to have excess capacity because we will foresee that the volume will be coming in now.
Which is quite impressive also, right? Because this auto hub, if I'm not wrong, it's just open in December.
No, actually we launched it in May,
right.
But we actually gradually migrate different segment of our business to there. I think somewhere around September or so, we are fully migrated.
Okay.
So in fact, it's only running 3-4 months,
3-4 months
full time.
Wow.
But I think right now it's getting better and better. But
Correct.
at the same time, we also have to dismantle the old things that we have built earlier. So I think that part is finishing.
Okay, so 3-4 months you managed to bring it up to 30% utilization rate.
Yeah.
How long do you think you need for it to be fully utilized?
So right now, you see, one of the bottlenecks that we actually solve is the hub. You see, those days, let's say you have a customer who's got 50,000 shipment. You want to bring in tonight to your hub. You have to turn it away, because you just cannot do. You see. With the automation hub, you can say, okay, 50,000 you can bring in today. So that's a major difference. You can actually now attract high volume business now.
Yeah.
So I think that will be a major game changer for us. Yeah.
Yeah. Going forward, is there any new big capex that you are going to do?
At the present moment, I don't see much.
No. So mainly focus on this auto hub first, lah.
No, there are many other areas because you see the whole business you have to be coordinated. So like auto hub could be one part of your body. Imagine your auto hub is your heart. Then your legs also need to be strong. Your hands also need to be strong. So you have to be actually coordinating everything at one go.
Yeah, correct. So in the next few years, do you need to spend a lot of capex to...
On the auto hub, answer is no.
Oh, okay. But you're going to build a lot more business, maybe more M&As and stuff like that.
Possible.
Possible. Right. Okay, I think that's all I have for Mr. Teong today. But before we end, I just want to ask this one last question. Where do you see GDEX in the next 3 years?
I definitely will see our growth will come back. Yeah, from various business stream. And I'm also focusing a lot on cash flow now. So see how to bring the cash back up, So I always very sort of critical about how much cash I have. Yeah, that's the most important thing.
Most important thing is the cash, growth of the cash flow.
Business all about cash.
Okay, and suddenly one more question pop up in my mind that I really want to ask is that because now we have two sides of the business, right? One is the logistics side and one is the tech side, so to speak. Right now, what is the revenue breakdown between these two compositions, and where do you see it will evolve in the next 3 years?
The logistics side is still the main bulk of the business. So I think right now the tech side, I think is almost like 8-9% of your turnover. I mean, it's pretty good because we just started it. I can see the tech side will continue to grow, and I will see other type of businesses that we can also add on. For example, training. For example, supply chain. Those are the new things that we can actually build on now because why? We got a whole ecosystem in place. So I will see a lot more other sort of revenues that are coming in to actually help out the group.
So next 3 years, what would the percentage look like? Would logistics still be a very big chunk, or would technology slowly become bigger and eventually GDEX will be recategorized as a tech company and not a logistic company?
I would think that the other things will be like supply chain will be big.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the thing is that GDEX will be a technology-driven logistic and supply chain company, to sum in one word. But the technology part cannot be the biggest revenue for the group. Because the supply chain, all this can be even much bigger than your logistic now.
Okay. So it's like Tesla is a technology-driven car maker like that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you want to be the Tesla in the logistic industry.
Actually, for me, is I want to, you see, bricks and mortar to me is still there to stay. So we bring in technology to make the brick and mortar to be at its best.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Tong, for your time.
Thank you.
Great to see you. Great inspiration to me because we came from the same company, in fact, from the same department. Hopefully, one day I can be as successful as you.
You sure can.
Sure can.
Yeah,
all right. Hopefully so. All right. Okay. Thank you for your time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right.